This is a production. Drill TV.
Once upon a time in a world of magic, light, and darkness.
The deep, twisting caverns of the Kapska Mountains echoed with the mournful whisper of the wind carrying the chill of the dark heart of the earth. The flickering light of torches cast long, eerie shadows on the jagged walls, and the distant, rhythmic dripping of water reverberated like the slow beating of a colossal, ancient heart. It was within this labyrinthine maze that a colony of the Order of the Darkness had made their home, hidden from the eyes of the world above. In one of the larger chambers, Gava paced anxiously, her pale green skin glowing faintly in the dim light. Her robes, tattered and worn, clung to her slender frame, and her thinning dark hair was tangled and wild around her worried face. She turned sharply as when her young pupil stepped into the chamber, her eyes bright with excitement and determination. "When, please," Gava pleaded, her voice raw with desperation. "Don't go with them. You don't understand what they're planning." When, short and curvy, her pale skin smooth and unblemished in contrast to Gava's weathered appearance, shook her head with a dismissive laugh. "You worry too much, Gava. This is a huge opportunity for me. Being part of the Witchmaster Nezenera's group is a big deal. It's what I've been working towards." Gava's eyes widened with fear. "No, you don't understand. This isn't about your training or service. You and the others are being used. You're not ready for this. They're going to use you as sacrifices when you're being sent to die." Wen's expression darkened, her excitement replaced with anger. "And what? You think Natsway would be more worthy of going, is that it?" She snapped, her voice bitter. "She's the one everyone loves. She's the one who's so talented and so promising. Is that what this is about?" "No, no," Gava cried, stepping forward, her hands trembling. "I'm worried about you. They didn't choose Natsui because she's not expendable. They see her potential, but you're just..." "I'm just what?" Wen spat, her eyes flashing with hurt and fury. "You're saying I'm expendable?" "No," Gava said desperately, her voice breaking. "I'm saying they see you as someone they can throw away. They'll use you to fuel something awful, something from the other side. You're being called into service because they don't see your value the way I do." Wen's face twisted with rage and jealousy. "I'm tired of your pity, Gava. I'm not going to waste away down here like you. I have a chance to prove myself, to be of value to the Order of the Darkness. If If I don't do this, if I don't take this chance, I'll be nothing. Worse than nothing. Gava reached out, grabbing Wen's arm, her eyes pleading, "Please, I can't lose you. Not after Katnar Gars. You're my favorite student, my favorite. Please, Wen." Wen ripped her arm free, glaring at Gava. "Katnar Gars is dead, Gava. He died in glorious service to the Order. You should be rejoicing, not grieving." Gava recoiled as if struck, her eyes filling with tears. "Glorious, do you really believe that? You didn't see him, the torment he was in, the things he was forced to do." She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "You think he wanted to slaughter those innocent women and children, to murder the defenseless? Or because he was driven to battle that monster from that accursed nation?" Wen's face twisted with anger and disgust. "Shut up, Gava. I'm tired of your weakness. You're obsessed with a dead man. You should be proud he died serving the great darkness, fulfilling his purpose." Gava's hands shook as she reached for Wen, her voice breaking. "Please, you don't have to do this. I know I'm not the best teacher, and I know there are others who are more skilled, more talented than you. But I care about you. I've always looked out for you. Remember when the others used to pick on you? Who was there for you?" Wen turned away, her jaw clenched, but Gava pressed on, her voice desperate. "Who made sure you always had food, that you had a place to sleep? I've protected you, cared for you, because I see something in you. Please, Wen, don't throw your life away for this madness." Wen's shoulders stiffened, and she spun around, her eyes blazing with fury. "You're pathetic, Gava. You think I owe you something. You're the one who's going to be left behind, rotting away down here, while I serve the great darkness. I'm not going to waste my life like you have." Gava's heart shattered at her words, and she stumbled back, her breath coming in ragged gasps. But then she seemed to gather herself, and she reached into the folds of her robes, her fingers trembling as they closed around something. "If you won't listen to me, then at least take this," she said, her voice trembling as she held out a small pink stone. "Please, Wen, if things go wrong, if you're in danger, just squeeze this. It will protect you." When looked at the stone with disdain, her lip curling. Fine, if it will shut you up, I'll take it. Gava stepped closer, her movements frantic as she reached into Wen's clothing, pushing the stone into her undergarments. Wen slapped her hands away, her face contorted with disgust. What are you doing? Just keep it close to you, please. Gava begged, her eyes shining with tears. Promise me you'll use it if you need to. Wen sneered at her, stepping back. Whatever, Gava, I'm leaving. Gava reached out, her fingers brushing against Wen's arm, but Wen shrugged her off, turning away. Don't try to stop me. I'm not going to waste my life grieving over a dead man like you. I'm going to serve the great darkness. With that, she turned and walked away, her footsteps echoing through the cavern. Gava stood there, trembling, her heart breaking as she watched her go. Wen, please, she whispered, but her voice was swallowed by the darkness. She stumbled to the corner of the chamber, her legs giving out as she collapsed to the ground. She buried her face in her arms, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs as she began to murmur a prayer in an ancient tongue, her voice trembling with fear and sorrow. Great darkness, protect her. Don't take her from me, please. But the darkness remained silent, its cold embrace offering no comfort as Gava wept for her lost pupil, her lost hope.
Once upon a time in a world of magic, light, and darkness.
The sun was high in the sky, casting a warm glow over the Duelist Academy in Sabran. The sound of clashing swords and heavy breathing filled the air as students moved through their training drills, their bodies glistening with sweat. Among them, Chica and Meizu stood side by side, focused and determined. Chica's movements were sharp and precise as she practiced her footwork, her body moving in a seamless rhythm. Each lunge, retreat, and advance was executed with the grace of someone who had trained diligently. Meizu, beside her, matched her stride for stride, their eyes meeting every so often with encouraging glances. As the training session drew to a close, the two girls found themselves seated halfway up the long flight of stone steps that led to one of Sabran's ancient temples. The steps offered a perfect view of the bustling city below, with the Jinnet River winding its way through the heart of Sabran like a lifeline. They sat in silence for a while, sipping water and catching their breath, their bodies sore but their spirits high. Meizu glanced over at Chica, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. "So, did you have a sweetheart back home?" she asked suddenly, her tone light, but the question probing. Chica nearly choked on her water, her cheeks flushing a deep red. What? She stammered, completely caught off guard. No, I didn't. I mean, I've never." She trailed off, flustered. Meizu raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. "Not ever." She pressed, her tone gentle but insistent. Chica shook her head, her embarrassment evident. "I was always busy training or helping my family. There wasn't really time for anything else," she admitted, a hint of sadness creeping into her voice as she mentioned her family. Meizu's expression softened as she noticed the change in Chica's demeanor. "Your family must have been really important to you," she said quietly. Chica nodded, her eyes growing distant. "Yeah, especially my little brother. He was so full of energy, always getting into trouble." Her voice cracked slightly and she bit her lip, trying to hold back the flood of emotions threatening to overwhelm her. Meizu reached out, giving Chica's arm a comforting squeeze. "You miss him a lot, don't you?" she asked softly. Chica nodded again, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Every day." There was a brief silence between them, filled only by the distant sounds of the city below. Meizu leaned back, staring up at the sky, a wistful smile on her lips. "I had a sweetheart back in my village," she said, her voice carrying a note of fondness. Chica turned to her, eyes wide with surprise. "Really? What was he like?" Meizu's smile grew a little mischievous as she described him. He had this beautiful, earthy skin and long, curly, dark hair. He always wore these ridiculous red leggings and white boots, like he was trying to make a statement or something. She laughed softly at the memory. "That's why I wear red, you know. It reminds me of him." Chica blinked, taken aback by the sudden intimacy of the conversation. "Does he know about you wearing red for him? I mean..." Meizu shrugged, her eyes sparkling with a mix of amusement and sadness. "I don't know, he's off training to be a dragon hunter now. We're both chasing dreams, I guess." Chica's eyes widened in admiration. "Dragon hunting, that's incredible. Do you think you'll get married someday?" Meizu's smile faltered slightly, and she looked down at her hands. "I don't know," she said quietly. "We're both on our own paths right now. Who knows where they'll lead us?" She hesitated, then added with a hint of melancholy, "The night runkle doesn't always know where its next meal will come from." Chica tilted her head, confused. "The night runkle?" Meizu shook her head quickly. "I meant the morning raiden, of course. Just a silly old saying."
before Chica could respond.
A shadow fell over them. They looked up to see a bald, bearded man standing at the top of the steps, his hands clasped behind his back. His eyes, sharp and penetrating, watched them with an unreadable expression. They scrambled to their feet, snapping to attention and giving a respectful salute. "Master Vanni," they chorused, their voices filled with a mixture of respect and trepidation. Master Vanni's stern face twitched, as if suppressing a smile. "Have you had enough rest then?" he asked, his tone gruff but not unkind. Mesu glanced at Chica, then back at Master Vanni. "We thought training was over for the day, Master." Vanni's laughter boomed down the steps, startling a flock of birds from a nearby tree. "Training is never over," he said, his eyes twinkling with amusement. "It's happening all the time. Even now, what you see, what you think, what you feel, it's all training." Mesu shifted nervously under his gaze. "Yes, Master." Vanni nodded, satisfied. "Good Mesu, I want you to head to the market and run 3 laps through every street without stepping on anyone's wares, feet, or garbage." Mesu's jaw dropped. "Master, that's impossible." "Currently, perhaps," Vanni agreed with a slight smile. "But with training, nothing is impossible. Off you go." Mesu glanced at Chica, her expression a mix of disbelief and resignation. With a sigh, she saluted and took off up the steps, her footsteps echoing as she disappeared over the top. Chica moved to follow, but Vanni held up a hand, stopping her. "Not you, Chica." She blinked, confused. "Master." Vanni's eyes softened as he looked at her, his gaze thoughtful. "I want you to head down the steps, run along the banks of the Jinnit River until you find an abandoned temple." Chica frowned, her mind racing. "What am I supposed to do when I find it? Clean it up?" Train sighed. Vanni shook his head, a small smile playing on his lips. "Just look inside, observe, and then come back and tell me what you saw." Chica hesitated, then nodded, saluting once more. "Yes, Master." With that, she turned and sprinted down the steps, her heart pounding with a strange mix of excitement and trepidation. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows over the city as she ran towards the Jinnit River, her mind buzzing with questions. What would she find in the abandoned temple, and what did Master Vanni want her to see? The air was cool as she reached the riverbank, the water glinting in the fading light. She followed the river, her eyes scanning the horizon until she spotted the crumbling silhouette of an old temple, half hidden among the trees. Taking a deep breath, she made her way towards it, her pulse quickening with each step. As she reached the entrance, she hesitated.
Her hand resting on the weathered stone of the doorway, she could feel a strange energy emanating from within. A silent invitation that both intrigued and unsettled her. Steeling herself, she stepped inside, her eyes widening as they adjusted to the dim light. The interior of the temple was a ghostly remnant of what must have once been a place of worship and reverence. Vines crawled up the walls, and the floor was littered with debris and fallen leaves. A faint, otherworldly glow seemed to emanate from the cracks in the stone, casting eerie shadows that danced along the walls. In the center of the room stood a small, broken statue, its features worn and indistinguishable. Chica stepped closer, her heart pounding in her chest. As she reached out a hand to touch the statue, a soft whisper seemed to echo through the air, a voice that was both familiar and strange, speaking in a language she didn't understand. She pulled her hand back, her heart racing. What was this place? And what did it mean? Taking a step back, she glanced around the room once more, her eyes lingering on the strange markings carved into the walls. They seemed to pulse with a faint, otherworldly light. And as she traced them with her eyes, she felt a strange sense of recognition, as if she had seen them before, in a dream or a memory she couldn't quite grasp. Shaking her head, she turned and hurried out of the temple, her mind spinning with questions. As she ran back towards the academy, the sun dipped below the horizon, the first stars appearing in the sky. By the time she reached the top of the steps, her breath was ragged and her legs felt like lead. Master Vani was waiting for her, his expression unreadable as he watched her approach. "Well?" he asked, his voice calm and steady. "What did you see?" Chica hesitated, her mind racing to find the right words. I saw a statue," she said slowly, her voice barely above a whisper, "and there were markings on the walls like writing, but I couldn't read them. It felt strange." Vani nodded, his eyes narrowing slightly as he studied her. "And what did you feel?" Chica swallowed, her heart pounding in her chest. "It felt like something was calling to me, but I didn't know what it was saying." For a long moment, Vani was silent, his gaze piercing as he looked at her. Then, slowly, he nodded. "You did well, Chica." She blinked, surprised. "I did?" Vani's lips twitched into a small smile. "Yes, you listened. That's the first step." He placed a hand on her shoulder, his grip firm and reassuring. "Remember what you felt, what you saw. There will come a time when it will all make sense." Chica nodded, though her mind was still spinning with questions. "Yes, Master." He gave her shoulder a gentle squeeze, then stepped back. "Now, go and get some rest. Tomorrow we begin again." With a final salute, Chica turned and made her way back to the academy, her thoughts a whirlwind of confusion and curiosity. As she climbed into bed that night, her mind kept drifting back to the temple, to the strange markings on the walls, and the whispering voice that seemed to echo in her soul.
Once upon a time in a world of magic, light, and darkness.
The royal palace of Naikamos loomed over the city, a testament to the power and history of the kingdom of Rios. Its spires reached for the heavens and its vast corridors echoed with the weight of centuries. In the heart of this imposing structure lay the throne room, a grand chamber adorned with tapestries of past glories and decorated with gold and gemstones that reflected the flickering torchlight. The throne itself, a towering seat of carved ebony and gold, stood as the focal point, a symbol of the authority wielded by the monarch of Rios. King Majo sat upon this throne, his posture rigid, his gaze fixed on the stack of documents spread before him. His dark eyes, shadowed by the strain of leadership and the burdens of his office, flicked back and forth as he reviewed the contents. His expression unreadable but for the coldness that seemed to emanate from him like an aura. The chamber was silent, save for the occasional rustle of parchment as he turned a page, his brow furrowing ever so slightly. The silence was broken by the slow, hesitant creak of the grand doors opening. A small, wiry man dressed in black robes entered, his head bowed low, his hands clasped together nervously. His thin frame seemed almost swallowed by the grandeur of the room as he made his way toward the throne. His steps were soft, tentative, as if he feared that even the sound of his footsteps might disturb the king's concentration. When he reached a respectful distance, he bowed deeply, his voice barely more than a whisper. Your Majesty, it is time for your scheduled meeting with Prince Tucker. King Majo did not look up from his documents. He continued reading, his silence stretching into an unbearable pause. The little man, Latmos, swallowed nervously, beads of sweat forming on his forehead as he remained bent in his bow, his heart hammering in his chest. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the king spoke, his voice cold and detached. Reschedule the meeting. He did not look up, his eyes still fixed on the papers before him. Latmos hesitated, his body trembling as he dared to press further. But, Your Majesty, it has been over a month since the incident with the bandits. The prince. The king's gaze snapped up, his eyes like daggers as they locked onto Latmos. The air in the room seemed to freeze, and Latmos felt his blood run cold under that piercing stare. What is a month? Majo's voice, though barely above a whisper, carried the weight of a thunderclap. It may be several months. It may be a year. It may be several years before I will meet with my disrespectful son. His words were sharp, cutting through the silence like a blade. Latmos flinched, his breath catching in his throat. He dared not move, dared not speak as the king continued, his voice low and dangerous.
King Majo continued. Do you understand the position he has put Rios in?
Majo's hands tightened around the documents, his knuckles whitening with the force of his grip. Now we owe a debt to the Order of the Light. Those self-righteous zealots masquerade as holy warriors while amassing power that could rival the armies of any nation. And now, because of Taka's recklessness, they have leverage over us. The king's eyes blazed with fury as he leaned forward, his gaze boring into Latmos. Do you remember what Cassida did to my father? What they did to the kingdom of Rios? Latmos nodded quickly, his head bobbing up and down like a frightened bird. Yes, your majesty, I remember. Majo's lip curled in a sneer of disdain. To owe a debt to an entity as powerful as the Order of the Light is to invite them into our very home. And what of the Order of the Darkness? What will they think of our alliance now? We are bound tighter to the light, alienating ourselves from the shadows. And what of the bandit king? How can we ever hope to use his services when his own brother was slain because of my son's foolishness? Latmos felt a cold sweat break out across his brow as he tried to muster a response, his voice trembling. Your Majesty, the prince was only. Majo's hand slammed down on the armrest of his throne, the sound echoing through the chamber like a gunshot. There is no such thing as freedom for one such as us, he roared, his voice reverberating off the walls. We are the heads of this kingdom. Freedom is a lie we sell to our citizens so they will toil and struggle under the illusion of choice. But we are never free, especially not those of us who bear the weight of the crown. Latmos cowered, his eyes squeezed shut as he bowed even lower, his voice a whimper. Your Majesty, please, I beg your forgiveness on behalf of the prince. He meant no harm. Majo's eyes flashed with cold fury as he regarded the trembling man before him. His voice dropped to a deadly whisper. Taka has trampled on our responsibilities, on our very survival. And you worry over a mere month. He leaned back in his throne, his expression one of icy disdain. If his mother were alive, do you know what she would have done? His words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken threat. Latmos shook his head frantically, his eyes shut tight as if he could will himself away from this place, from the king's wrath. No, your Majesty, enough. Majo's voice cut him off, cold and final. He lifted the documents once more, his eyes scanning the words as if Latmos were no longer even there. The meeting will be rescheduled for some unknown date in the future. You are dismissed. Latmos bowed so deeply his nose nearly touched the floor. Yes, your Majesty, thank you. Your Majesty. He backed away, his movements stiff and awkward as he retreated from the throne room, his heart pounding in his chest. The doors closed behind him with a heavy thud, and Latmos let out a shaky breath, his hands trembling as he wiped the sweat from his brow. He turned, his face pale and drawn, and saw Prince Taka standing in the hallway, his small frame stiff and still, his eyes fixed on the closed doors with a look of resignation. Latmos forced a smile, though it felt like his face might crack. Your father is very busy at the moment, Prince Taka.
The boy nodded slowly, his eyes dull, the weight of his father's wrath pressing down on him like a physical force. "I understand," he said softly, his voice barely a whisper. Latmus reached out his hand, hovering over the boy's shoulder before he let it fall back to his side. "Come, Your Highness. Let's get you back to your chambers." Taka turned and began walking down the hallway, his head bowed, his shoulders hunched, as if trying to make himself smaller. Latmus followed, his heart aching for the young prince, caught in a world where freedom was just a word, and duty was a shackle that bound them all. As they walked away from the throne room, the echo of the king's anger seemed to linger in the air, a reminder that in the world of royalty, every action had consequences, and every choice carried the weight of the crown.
Once upon a time in a world of magic, light, and darkness.
A bonfire, enormous and primal, roared into the night sky, its flames licking at the darkness like a living, breathing creature. The heat was intense, washing over the gathering of tanned and dark-skinned bodies, their forms slick with sweat glistening under the flickering light of the flames. There was no stillness here, no quiet. Only motion, only sound. The steady pounding rhythm of drums filled the air, relentless pulse that seemed to come from the very earth beneath their feet. It was loud but not deafening, a thundering heartbeat that echoed in time with the pounding of feet on the ground. The people moved as one, their bodies adorned with markings, streaks of mud and blood smeared across faces and limbs. Their eyes were wide, wild, reflecting the flames as if possessed by the fire's hunger. They chanted in a language that seemed older than the fire itself, guttural sounds that merged with the crackling of the flames, becoming one with the night. The words were lost in the rhythm, carried away by the smoke that spiraled into the starless sky, twisting and curling like tendrils of some forgotten spirit. Around the edge of the fire, the elders worked. Their hands moved with methodical precision, stripping the corpses of beasts of their fur, skin, and meat. The fire's light cast long shadows over their wrinkled faces, the dark blood staining their fingers as they worked in silence, their old eyes focused on the task. But the young, the strong, they were not silent. They beat the drums, their hands moving in perfect sync, their bodies swaying, spinning, crashing into one another. Flesh met flesh with a force that shook the ground beneath them. There was no distinction in the frenzy. Men slammed into women, women into men, limbs tangled and separated again in a chaotic dance. The force of each collision sent bodies reeling, only for them to recover and smash into one another again. The rhythm quickened. The fire roared louder, its heat searing. The smoke thickened, filling the sky until it was impossible to tell where the flames ended and the night began. The drums never ceased, growing more intense, more primal as the energy of the gathering reached its fevered peak. Bodies entwined, pressed close, hands gripping shoulders, pulling each other into the frenzy. There was an ecstatic moaning, a sound that rose above the drums, carried on the smoke and spiraled up into the air. The flames seemed to rise higher, driven by the pulse of bodies and sound, by the intensity of contact as physicality became something more, something raw, something untamed. The fire, the drums, the movement, it was all one now. An endless cycle of sound and flesh, of heat and sweat, of fire and smoke. They fed it, fueled it, stoked the wild spirit that was far, far away, deeper in the south where only the ancient ones could see. The drums beat on, the fire raged, and somewhere in the distance of this primal night, something stirred.
Once upon a time in a world of magic, light, and darkness.
Ravni had been to the sprawling complex in Lumina, headquarters to the Order of the Light, countless times in his life, and each visit left him with the same discomfort. It wasn't the grandeur or the complexity of the architecture that unsettled him. It was the presence of so many magic users. They filled the halls and courtyards, some with the ability to perceive thoughts, emotions, and the hearts of those around them. Ravni wasn't one for magic. In fact, he avoided it when he could. But he had been forced to learn one spell, a necessity for traveling with the Cassidan. The spell cloaked his mind and heart from magical perception, and while it granted him a degree of privacy, it made every encounter with Maja Haran deeply uncomfortable. He knew she was aware of the barrier. Still, the supreme leader of the Order of the Light had her uses for him, just as everyone did when he wasn't traveling. He was a messenger, and there was always something to deliver. As he waited in the courtyard, Ravni's eyes wandered over the scene before him. Students deep in discussion over their studies, scholars walking slowly with heads full of complex thoughts, warriors sitting against pillars, nodding off in exhaustion. There was something peaceful about it, but it was a peace that Ravni could never fully embrace. His thoughts were interrupted by a soft voice behind him, one that caught him off guard. Are you wondering if that man was ever like these students you see now? Ravni scrambled to his feet, heart pounding, surprised to find Majaharan standing before him. She was dressed in her customary robes adorned with the symbols of the order, and her piercing gaze was fixed on him. He quickly made the official greetings and salutes, trying to compose himself. Instead of summoning him to her chambers, she had come to him. She motioned for him to sit back down and, to his shock, took a seat beside him. Her eyes studied him as if she was searching for something beyond the cloak he wore. I wasn't thinking about that, Ravni finally replied, after gathering himself. I was remembering when I was a messenger for the kingdom of Baham, the courtyards of the royal palace there. Majaharan smiled softly, a trace of nostalgia in her expression. I remember King Gus. He was a handsome man, wasn't he? There was a light about him, a true radiance. Ravni's throat tightened at the memory of King Gus. He nodded, managing to say, he was a fine king. The supreme leader's expression shifted. Her eyebrow arched slightly. It's interesting, Ravni, how much loyalty you hold for someone from the country that caused Bahm's fall, she said softly. Especially since that very country led to King Gus's end. Ravni smiled, though there was a defiance in it. That was war. The Sir had no part in that. Perhaps he hadn't even been born yet when it happened. The Sir has nothing to do with war. Only justice. Majaharan's smile grew, this time with a hint of mischievousness. When was the last time you visited your relations in the old country, Ravni? She asked, her voice light but pointed. A sense of dread washed over him. He had heard rumors that a long journey was coming, but he had hoped, desperately, that it wasn't true. Please, Ravni said, his voice low, almost pleading. Don't send me so far away. Majaharan's smile softened. I wish it could be different, Ravni. But you've been our most reliable messenger for many years now. No one can travel as swiftly, and no message is safer than when it's in your hands. Ravni's heart sank. He knew there was no arguing with her. Still, he tried one last appeal, clinging to a sliver of hope. But the Sir, he was finally going to let me watch him train. Mayaharan laughed, an unexpected hearty sound that startled him. She placed her hand gently on the side of his face, her touch soft and warm, almost motherly. Ravni blushed at the contact, caught off guard by the sudden intimacy. "If the Cassitan told you that," she said, "then he already knew you were going to be sent away." Her voice was kind, but her words struck Ravni like a blow. "I imagine he's already begun another journey of his own." Ravni stared at her, stunned. The Cassitan had known. He had planned this, knowing full well what was about to happen. Magaharan's laughter softened as she stood up, her robes rustling quietly. "Don't be upset, Ravni. The Cassitan has a way of reading through even me." She shook her head, her expression still amused. "That's twice in as many days he's surprised me." Ravni, resigned to his fate, slowly stood up. "What's the message, Majaharan? What am I to take to the old country?" She smiled warmly, pleased with his acceptance, and motioned for him to follow her. "Come, I'll tell you on the way." As they walked together toward the inner chambers, Ravni couldn't help but feel the weight of his new task settling on his shoulders. The Cassitan was already on his way somewhere, far beyond his reach. And now Ravni would be sent even further, back to a place he had long since left behind. There was no escaping the role he had been given. He was the messenger, always carrying someone else's words, someone else's will. And there would be no reprieve for him, not until the next journey began.
Once upon a time in a world of magic, light, and darkness.
Gonvizor stood concealed in the shadow, watching Majaharan and Ravni disappear down the courtyard's winding path. The fading echo of their footsteps left an uneasy silence behind, one that matched the growing weight in his chest. His mind churned with thought, frustration simmering just beneath his calm exterior. As he brooded over the ever-complicating threads of power within the Order of the Light, a faint sound from behind broke his focus. Without turning, he greeted the presence. Gava. A wiry figure with long, dark hair stepped out from the nearby alcove. Gava, with his narrow face and sharp, calculating eyes, approached with an almost mischievous air. His smile barely masked the dark knowledge he carried. "I have news," Gava began, his voice low but tinged with amusement. Vaisel's eyes narrowed slightly as he studied the man. "The Cassitan," he said, already anticipating some of what was to come. Gava nodded. "Yes, he's on the move, heading west to the volcanic flats beyond the Kapska Mountains." Vaisel's brow furrowed. "A stronghold of the Order of the Darkness," he muttered, already connecting the pieces in his mind. For him to head there, it must be a grave mission. Gava smirked. "Oh, it's more than that, surely. You noticed what else I am carrying in my mind?" Vaisel's gaze sharpened. "What are you implying?" The hint of amusement in Gava's tone only deepened. "He's not alone." A sudden stab of anger struck Vaisel, a feeling so sharp that it took him a moment to smother it. His face remained unreadable as he waited for the confirmation he dreaded. "Lyra goes with him," Gava revealed, his words soft but pointed. For a moment, Vaisel felt the weight of jealousy and betrayal pressing on his chest. He pushed it aside, his thoughts spinning rapidly. If the Cassitan and Lyra were traveling together, then the situation was far more dangerous than he had initially assumed. It must be a demon king, Vaisel said, his voice quiet but filled with certainty. Gava blinked in surprise. A demon king? He leaned closer, skepticism in his voice. Surely the Order of the Darkness wouldn't be so reckless. Vaisel's lips curled into a bitter smile as he motioned for Gava to follow. They slipped into one of the secret passageways behind the walls, the stone corridors cold and dimly lit by distant torches. As they moved, their conversation continued in hushed tones. "Reckless?" Vaisel scoffed. The Order of the Darkness at Katna Agars needlessly slaughter an entire village to arrange a duel with the Cassitan. They're desperate to get him out of the way. Whatever they're plotting, a demon king's revival would be exactly the kind of chaos they'd seek to summon. Gava's face darkened at the mention of the massacre. But a demon king hasn't walked this dimension since the time of the Eternals and Shadows, the very idea. Fool. Vaisel cut him off, looking down on him with the faintest hint of disdain. The Eternals still walk this world. Or at least, one of them does. Gava rolled his eyes, clearly unimpressed. That old tale again. You've never proven that. Vaisel's eyes glittered with a knowing gleam. You'll just have to trust me on this. They exited the passageway and found themselves outside the great complex of the Order of the Light. The sky above had begun to darken with the approach of dusk, casting long shadows across the stone courtyards. Gava paused, glancing around before turning back to Vaisel. "What will you do now?" Vaisel's expression soured, his thoughts heavy with frustration. "There's nothing I can do. The Cassitan and Lyra will stop the revival as they always do, and more glory will fall upon his undeserving head. He spat the words with quiet venom, though he quickly regained his composure. With a sigh, he looked at Gava, his tone softening. "You've done well," Vizel said, a rare note of genuine praise in his voice. "We'll keep in touch, as usual." Gava bowed slightly, a respectful acknowledgement of Vizel's position. "As always, gone, Vizel." With that, Gava turned and departed into the night, his figure soon disappearing into the city's winding streets. Vizel watched him go for a moment, then turned back toward the towering walls of the Order of the Light. His heart burned with ambition and resentment as he slipped back into the shadows of the complex. The game continued, and for now, all he could do was wait for his next move.
Once upon a time in a world of magic, light, and darkness.
The air was thick with the stench of sulfur and smoke. The volcanic flatlands west of the Kapska Mountains, a desolate wasteland of lava pits and jagged black rock. The sky above was an eerie crimson, casting the land in a blood-red hue that flickered in the light of molten rivers running below. Wind trembled, not with fear, but with excitement. She could barely contain herself. This was it, her moment. Her heart pounded in her chest as she stood among the other young witches, lined up before the burning pit. The Witchmaster Nyzenra stood at the forefront, flanked by the stern-faced Razjana and the gaunt warlock Munu. Their presence alone was enough to make Wen feel as if she was on the precipice of greatness. Finally, she thought, my career begins tonight. Gava's warnings had been nothing but the anxious ramblings of an old, worn-out witch. Wen shook her head, suppressing a sneer. She had been chosen for this, before Natsui, before any of the other young witches who thought themselves more talented or more worthy. This was her initiation into the official ranks of the Order of the Darkness. Nothing could take that away from her now. The night sky swirled with power, the crimson clouds above seeming to respond to the gathering forces below. Form a line, 2 at a time, Nyzenra commanded, her voice a rasping whisper that cut through the thick air. The young witches obeyed immediately, stepping toward the edge of the pit in pairs. The lava bubbled beneath them, sending sparks into the air as Nyzenra, Razjana, and Munu began their chant in an ancient tongue. Their eyes shut in deep concentration, their bodies rigid as the words poured from their lips like the cursed wind itself. The chant grew louder, their voices vibrating with a force that made the ground beneath the witches tremble. The air grew hotter. Wen's skin prickled with the intensity of the heat, but she kept her composure. This was the sacred ritual, the revival that the Order had spoken of in hushed tones. She would be part of something legendary. Sparks leapt from the pit, and then the lava surged. The molten rock bubbled violently as if something below was straining to be free. The chanting reached a fever pitch, and as the final words echoed through the volcanic flats, the pit erupted. A flame burst forth high into the sky, and from it, a grotesque figure began to emerge. A long, bony arm clawed its way from the lava, followed by a gaunt face adorned with horns and a tongue that lolled from its gaping mouth. Its skin was leathery and charred, hanging from its frame like a cloak of death. Its emaciated body stretched into the night, claws scraping the earth as it pulled itself free. A low, breathless howl echoed from its gaping maw, growing louder with every second. Wen's heart raced, her excitement turning to a chill of unease as the monstrosity's hollow eyes fixed on the witches before it. Nyzenra's eyes snapped open, glowing red. She spoke again in the ancient tongue, and the creature hissed in response, the sound like fire devouring wood. Then Nyzenra motioned toward the line of witches. It begins. The beast moved faster than Wen thought possible, its long arms shooting out and grabbing the first 2 witches in its clawed hands. Their screams pierced the air as its burning skin seared their flesh, smoke rising from their bodies. And then, in one horrifying instant, the creature's mouth stretched impossibly wide, and it devoured them whole. Wen's blood froze. The witch's screams turned into terrified cries as chaos erupted. The creature continued its grisly feast, each bite sending blood and limbs scattering across the volcanic rock. No! This can't be happening! Wen's mind screamed. Gava was right. They were not here for glory. They were sacrifices. All of them. Panic spread through the witches, their terror rising as Munu and Razina drew ceremonial daggers from their robes. Without hesitation, they turned on the students, slashing throats and spilling more blood for the beast to consume. Wen's legs trembled, her mind whirling. I'm gonna die. They're all gonna kill us. The other witches ran, desperately scrambling to escape the horror unfolding around them, only to be cut down by their own mentors. Wen watched as bodies fell, one after another, and the creature devoured them with a hunger that seemed endless. In desperation, she reached for the small pink stone Gava had given her. It was her last hope. She clutched it in her hand, squeezing it tightly, and in an instant the world around her shifted. The sounds of screams and the monstrous roar dulled to a distant echo, as though she had been transported to some place between the present and another realm entirely. Her breath came in shallow gasps, her heart hammering against her chest, but no one noticed her anymore. She'd become invisible to them. The magic had worked. Wen's pulse pounded in her ears as she moved away from the carnage. She saw Munu pass by her, oblivious to her presence, his dagger slicing through the air to claim another victim. Blood sprayed across her face, but no one saw her. She was safe for now. She wanted to cry out, to scream, but she couldn't afford to make a sound. She watched as the last of the witches were cut down, their bodies fed to the growing beast. Her mind raced, panic clawing at her insides, but her feet carried her further from the pit. Then, just as she thought she might escape, the nightmare Nizrina's head snapped up. The Witchmaster's eyes widened, her mouth opening in a shriek of disbelief. Impossible. Light burst from the darkness, a dazzling white light that cut through the crimson haze like a blade. Wind shielded her eyes from the brilliance, her heart racing with newfound terror. Out of the light stepped a figure, a woman beautiful and powerful, her blonde hair glowing like gold in the searing brightness. She carried a staff, and from its tip radiated the blinding illumination that lit up the entire flat land. Moving past her was another figure, the Cassitan. The legendary warrior moved with blinding speed. Before Wen could even comprehend what was happening, Munu and Regina were dead, their bodies crumpling to the ground in slashed heaps. The beast roared in defiance, a sound that shook the earth itself, and Wen knew that this was her only chance. She turned and fled, running as fast as her legs could carry her, away from the horror, away from the light, away from the death that had surrounded her. And she ran faster than she ever had in her life. She didn't dare look back.
Once upon a time in a world of magic, light, and darkness.
Wen's bare feet pounded across the volcanic flatlands, each step a fresh stab of pain as jagged rocks tore into her skin. The terrain was merciless, but the fear coursing through her veins propelled her forward. Her breath came in ragged gasps, heart thundering in her chest, her legs trembling with exhaustion. Still, she couldn't stop. Not yet. Not until she was far away from the horror she had witnessed, far away from the monstrous figure that had consumed her fellow students. Her vision blurred from tears, but she didn't dare slow down. Keep running. Keep moving. Finally, her legs gave out, and she collapsed against a rock wall at the mouth of a cave. Her body ached, her muscles burning from the relentless sprint, but it wasn't the physical pain that tore at her. It was the realization she had been nothing but a tool, a disposable sacrifice. Her foolishness and naivety had nearly cost her life. She sobbed into her hands, the weight of it all too much to bear. I'm nothing. I was never special.
and whispered to herself, tears mingling with the dirt on her cheeks. I wasn't that sweet. I was never going to be. But the silence around her broke. The wind howled in the distance, carrying something, someone. The sound grew closer, and Wen's breath caught in her throat. Wiping the tears from her eyes, she managed to scramble into a seated position, her back pressed against the cool stone of the cave. Emerging from the shadows was Nizrena, the witch master. Her wild, desperate eyes darted around the landscape, as if she could smell Wen's presence. I know someone is here, Nizrena barked, her voice sharp, echoing across the flatlands. How did you survive? Who helped you? Her voice twisted with suspicion. Are you a spy for the Order of the Light? Wen's heart pounded against her ribs. She was still invisible, thanks to Gava's enchanted stone. But the Witchmaster's crazed gaze was unnerving. Stay still, don't move. The distant cry of the monstrous being pierced the night, followed by a flash of radiant light that lit the horizon. Nizrena's face twisted in anger, her features contorting into something almost inhuman. She let out a guttural scream of frustration, her voice rising above the wind. Where are you, spy? Nizrena hissed, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the landscape. Tell me before they catch up. Who is responsible? A sickly green mist poured from Nizrena's nostrils, and her eyes began to glow a faint yellow. She sniffed the air sharply, her head swiveling until her gaze locked onto Wen's location. She sees me. Panic shot through Wen, and in her terror she dropped the pink stone. It tumbled from her fingers, rolling across the dirt, until it stopped at Nizrena's feet. In an instant, Wen's invisibility shattered, and she was exposed. Nizrena's eyes widened in disbelief as she stared at the stone. Gava, that sentimental fool. Her voice dripped with contempt as she turned her attention back to Wen. She betrayed the Order of the Darkness for someone like you. Before Wen could react, a commanding voice cut through the chaos. No one has betrayed your order, Nizrena. The Witchmaster spun around, her body tensing. Standing behind her was the Cassitan, his presence calm yet unyielding. Lyra and Maja Haran have been aware of this for some time. The Cassitan continued, his voice measured. No betrayal has occurred. Nizrena's eyes blazed with fury. Without hesitation, she pulled a ceremonial dagger from her robes, her face twisted into a mask of hate. No matter, she snarled. That fool won't have her precious slug. She spun on her heel, dagger raised, and lunged at Wen. Wen's body froze, her mind screaming. I'm going to die, this is the end. But the death blow never came. In a flash of steel, the Cassitan's blade cut through the air, and Nizrena's body crumpled to the ground before she reached her target. The Witchmaster lay motionless, her dagger falling uselessly from her hand, when stared in shock at the lifeless body before her, her chest heaving as she tried to process what had just happened. Her gaze shifted upward, meeting the Cassitan's eyes. His expression was calm, almost apologetic. I'm sorry we couldn't get here sooner, the Cassitan said softly, his voice laced with regret. We couldn't save your friends. Wen shook her head slowly, her voice a mere whisper. They weren't my friends. And then the exhaustion took her. Wen collapsed, her body finally giving in to the shock and fatigue that had been building within her. Darkness closed in, and her last sight was the Cassitan's steady gaze watching over her, a silent protector as she drifted into unconsciousness.